Hello folks, so let's speak about the month of October today. If you prefer to read about it, I post monthly on my website and you can subscribe to it there as well. Yeah, so let's get into this. Now, October is full of activity. Some of it can bring heated talks, reversals in plans, and unexpected changes, which may also lead to anxiety. There's going to be shifts in the direction that you've been moving toward, and but by the end of the month, there's going to be much more clarity. Yeah, towards the last week. Now, what's happening? So Venus is transiting Scorpio from October the 2nd till October the 30th. Here, Venus is caught up in the nodal axis and will form a conjunction with Ketu around the same time that Saturn moves direct on October the 11th. This doesn't really bode well for relationships. Of course, there's other things also going on at this time that doesn't help matters. It, in fact, contributes to the negativity when it comes to communication, when it comes to relationships. You may be questioning yourself about the person that you're with, especially if this is an intimate relationship. It could result in fears and obsessions. We're talking about Scorpio here, and it could also lead to breaks in relationships, particularly intimate relationships, because we're talking about a Venus-Ketu conjunction at the same time when Saturn moves direct. Venus's main impulse is to connect in a balanced way, in the context of relationships, in the context of contracts, and just generally in the use of material resources. This is why the passionate, intense, and obsessive atmosphere of Scorpio throws off that Venetian principle. Yeah, it throws it off balance. This is further compounded by the fact that Venus is caught up in the nodal axis. Mercury returns to Virgo on October 1st, where it stays all month till November 1st. But Mercury in Virgo is still retrograde, and it's starting to move towards the Sun and Mars in Virgo. It's going to remain retrograde till October the 18th. And on October the 9th, there is a Sun-Mars-Mercury conjunction in Virgo. Right, so again, around the same time, there is a Venus and Ketu conjunction in Scorpio, and at the same time, there is a Saturn movement to direct. So none of this bodes well for the matters that are connected to Virgo. See what it's connecting with in your chart, in the house, as well as the planets that are sitting there. More importantly, the planets that are sitting there. Mercury is in its own sign where it reaches an exalted place, but normally it will perform well here, of course, with awareness akin to its own nature, and normally it would mean activities connected to writing, speaking, communication, travel, making money would get a boost, but we're talking about a retrograde Mercury with the Sun and Mars, so it's not in a good state. And due to the connection with Sun and Mars, you could be facing frustrations at this time, disagreements, unexpected surprises in the matters and significations of Mercury, and in the matter of and significations of Virgo, depending on where it's in your chart. So you have to check that also. Further compounded here is the fact that Rahu is aspecting that Virgo from Taurus, so it can agitate things further due to that fiery conjunction of Sun, Mars, Mercury. So those few days from October the 6th till October the 10th can bring up some unexpected challenges. Both Mercury and Mars are combust, and Sun is afflicted with Mars so close by. Because it's Virgo, flaws could be glaringly obvious to you now. This would be the time to rethink, to revise, to redo matters that are connected to Virgo and whatever is placed in your chart in Virgo. See if you have a planet there, it could get adversely impacted. You could also face some setbacks in your plans and goals, But things start to shape up and improve during the last week of October when Mars leaves Virgo and Mercury goes direct. Now, Mars transits Libra from October the 21st till December the 5th. Mars has been traveling very close to the Sun and will continue to do so until the end of October. This results in a combust state for Mars, again pointing to action being stunted. With a combust Mars, you can feel overly competitive and irritated at the possibility of things not going your own way. It can also bring low self-confidence. This is especially the case if you are Aries or Scorpio or going through the Mars Dasha. But nonetheless, during this Mars in Libra transit, it could be a great time for reconnecting with old friends, reconnecting with old relationships. Social activities could also bring some benefits at this time. By the time Mars moves to Scorpio, it's going to be caught up in the nodal cycle, pointing to some unfinished business resurfacing, pertaining to where Scorpio falls in your chart. We have the movement of Rahu into Krithika on October 5th as well, until June the 14th of 2022. And this is something I've spoken in detail about, and I'm going to link that video below. We also have a new moon in Virgo in the nakshatra of Hasta on October the 6th. The moon will join the sun at 90 degrees Virgo at approximately 12 p.m. UTC. This is a difficult new moon, as Mars is within less than 1 degree of the sun and the moon here. Ruling planet of Virgo, Mercury, is also approaching the moon and it's retrograde. As well, of course, the controlling planet of Hasta is the moon again, the moon itself, which is very dark and devoid of any light at this time, being that it's a new moon. We have an aspect of Jupiter as well as one from Rahu, both being retrograde. Jupiter is in debility as well, so it's not very helpful. You could be revisiting a matter in your life that has been unresolved for quite some time now. And with the retrograde energy so strong, long buried matters and emotions that have been seething inside for a very long time could come to the surface now. Due to Mars' close presence, this can bring flare-ups with people, as there may be disagreements and setbacks. At this time, Saturn is about to go direct, so it's very strong as it's in stationary mode. So you may be rethinking and reassessing your life, but feel frustrated with the lack of answers that are not coming your way. And this is especially the case for all those with predominant earth signs. So in other words, you have a lot of planets in earth signs, or you've got the moon ascendant in earth signs. If you're going through the Dasha of Rahu, Mars, even Mercury, you'll feel this more directly. For all the earth signs, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, this new moon can bring up some unpleasant events, but you can get clarity once Saturn turns direct. Saturn turns direct on October 11th at 12 degrees of Capricorn. At this point, Saturn is no longer square Uranus as it was when it went retrograde, but it's still being aspected by Rahu, so you could still be hit by some unpleasant and unpredictable events. Now, Venus was in trine when Saturn went retrograde, but now Venus is in Scorpio, connecting with Ketu. This implies separation or distancing from relationships. Saturn retrograde would have been a good time to reflect, actually, on a significant love relationship. Even someone new that came into your life, but more than likely it would be someone who's perhaps you've known for a long time. And perhaps a relationship that had begun earlier this year. Or if you were already in a long-term relationship, some ugly truths that were deeply buried could have come to the surface to give that relationship that final jolt or breakup. And at this time, the fear of losing a relationship, perhaps that very relationship, is going to be very pronounced because of that Venus conjunct Ketu. Yeah. What else is happening? So Jupiter, of course, also goes direct on October 18th, the same day as Mercury. It turns direct on October 18th at 28 degrees of Capricorn. At this point, Jupiter is in Dhanishta, whose controlling planet is Mars, situated in 28 degrees of Virgo, making an exact 5-9 aspect with Jupiter. When Jupiter had gone retrograde, it was connecting harmoniously in this way with the Sun, and again, now that it's going direct, it's making harmonious connections with Mars and the Sun. That's a very good sign. And also the exalted Mercury. Yeah. So this represents a good positive turning point, and can lead to forward momentum, perhaps with some compromises that you've made in the contentious matters that were coming up when there was that Mars and Sun conjunction. Sun enters its debilitated sign of Libra from October 17th till November the 16th. Again, we see the Sun joining Mars, so there's excessive fire energy once again. And it's going to continue like that with Mercury also in the mix and in Libra. Right? Next month we're going to have an exact conjunction around, I believe, around the 9th or 10th of November, similar to what we had this month in Virgo around the same time. So that might be more difficult for Aries if you're in Aries. Libra is also receiving, of course, the aspect of Saturn, so this compounds the situation somewhat. Whenever there is excessive fire energy, the best you can do is release it through physical activity. This could be any kind of vigorous exercise. In fact, most people are able to come out of their shell now and move around, so getting back into your exercise routine would be a great way to use this energy. And also to do very sort of strenuous work, right? Because we're talking about Virgo. Now, with Libra being highlighted after mid-month, you could also be going out more and socializing. And the momentum will certainly pick up towards the 3rd week of October for this. So see where Libra falls in your chart. And if you're going through the Mars or Mercury dasha, some challenges, of course, could come up, right? Because of that conjunction happening. This transit, this Sun transit, can be a bit difficult for Leos because it's your Lagna Lord, and Aries and Libra as well. By the middle of November, the difficult Mars transit will start to subside as the Sun moves further away from Mars, and so does Mercury. There's a full moon in Aries in the nakshatra of Ashwini on October the 20th at around 2 p.m. UTC. This full moon is being aspected by Mars, which is the ruler of Aries, and here we have Ketu, the controlling planet of Ashwini, in Scorpio with Venus. Similar themes could come up as we saw on the new moon. However, now the difficult energy has largely dissolved, and we're probably closing this chapter with some final thoughts, some final resolutions, maybe some compromises. It's a good time for any healing activities, as that's the essence of Ashwini. You may consider going to a therapist. You may consider going to a therapist. You may consider going to get a massage. You may consider going on a very relaxing retreat somewhere warm and sunny. If so, you're going to see immense benefits straight away. And with most full moons, it's a good time to connect with others. This can be a difficult month for many people, and the changes will continue as we have 2 eclipses coming up next month. And then we have 2 eclipses coming up. One is in November and one is in early December. But I think December is going to be a lovely month and a much better ending to the year than we had last year. So all the best, folks. Cheers.